A lot of relationships break down in highly conservative communities, a lot of the times because of different value systems. For example, a classic one could be that your family think that you waste too much time, right? But in your mind, you work, you do regular 5Ks, you're active, you write, you play sports, you build things which, they might not see any sort of universal value to. But to you, you know that it contributes to your health, discipline, gives you networking opportunities. It's part of your long-term development. But to your family, especially if you come from a certain environment which, is based around survival or scarcity, it can still be viewed as a conspicuous waste of time. And this is where a lot of tension builds up in family communities. And this idea links back to Thorstein Veblen's 1899 work, The Theory of the Leisure Class. And Veblen argues that in certain communities and stratified societies, often status is not actually defined by what you produce, but can also be defined by what you can afford not to produce. In other words, what looks like a waste of time to one group could actually be seen as a signal of virtue, freedom, or economic prosperity in another group. The classic one is an aristocratic wife who doesn't need to cook or clean because she can afford domestic workers. Or because of the freedom from ordinary labor, she's seen as someone who has climbed the social ladder. Now, if you bring that back to, a classic ethnic or, highly conservative family dynamic, there are certain, gender roles or duties which are defined, who cooks, who cleans, who contributes, who pays the bills. And if you're seen to step outside that value system, even if it's for a practical reason, like you might have lost a leg, you still look like you're not productive. And it's not because, you're not actually being productive. It's just the value system that actually assesses, your productivity is just different. And a lot of people never actually articulate this properly with their family, and it creates frustration and resentment, and everyone just lives in this weird, awkward quagmire. So if you're struggling to communicate your choices, your lifestyle, your values, click the link in my bio and I'll help you just figure out the words that you need just to communicate that different value system. Because at the end of the day, your family is your family, right? And if they think you're lazy, what are you gonna do?